Good morning and happy Sabbath. So, some of you might be wondering how I'm standing up here today. About 2 months ago, Mark Siggy, our left pastor, I guess you could call him now, our only pastor we have, asked me to preach a sermon, which wasn't a surprise because I had told him when we had lost our lead pastor that I was more than willing to step up and be in that role. As an elder, I felt like it was important that being an elder, I should preach from time to time. I have already once up front for the main service. I've quite a few times for the early service. So I said, when he asked me about 2 months ago, sure, I'd love to. He said, okay, May 16th. All right, sounds good. About 5 minutes later, I get another text. Wait a minute, I'm sorry, 23rd. I need you to do the 23rd. It wasn't the 16th. Okay, that's a good date. I can do that one too. It's open on my calendar. So that's where this started. And then on May 10, I lost my father. That was my first excuse to be able to say, no, I'm not going to come up here. Right? Pretty good excuse. No. The Lord wanted me up here. He asked me to be up here. There's no reason for me not to be here. Okay. So, last Sunday, I decided to go for a bike ride. Got to get out, get some exercise. I left the church here with a couple of my friends. We got across the bridge, and somebody stopped us in a car, waved us down. Hey, I'm trying to go to Washington, D.C. I've been lost in Frederick for about 10 minutes. Can you help us? I'm like, no problem, this is easy. New Design Road, blinking lights, make a left. 15, make a left. Stay in the right lane, you go there. Glaze over the face. I knew we had a problem. He wasn't figuring out where he was going. He'd already been lost for a while. So, myself and my buddy said, no problem. New exit over here. We're right there. So we hopped back on the bikes, started pedaling over, got in the left lane, pulled right onto the exit. Onto the little subdivision there, and started around the subdivision. While on the far side of the subdivision, right at the exit, there's a roundabout. No problem. Doing about 5 miles an hour. Relax. We aren't even struggling. We weren't even out there like we usually are, racing each other a little bit, having a little fun. Made it about halfway around the roundabout. Both of my tires went straight out from under me as quickly as they could. Didn't even have time to let go of the handlebars. Let me warn you guys, your face is not meant to break your fall. So I used my face to break my fall, got a nice black eye, it's disappearing. The Lord has done amazing things this week with my face. It is not scratched up, as some of you may attest that have seen me throughout this week. So He is taking care of me. Number 2 excuse. There are no excuses. When the Lord calls you to do something, you do it. Let's pray. Dear loving Heavenly Father, Lord, I ask that the words that I speak be yours and not mine. I ask that the words uplift those around me, and I ask that they be a support and understanding for the one cause that we have, and that is to lead everyone to you, Lord, for that glorious day. May you send the Holy Spirit to be with us today. In Jesus' loving name we pray. Amen. So, hero or zero? As you can tell, we've gotten it a little mixed up. AJ at Children's Story said hero or zero because he knew what I had on my slide. On the bulletin it says 0 to hero. They both work really well. So, they fall in line with exactly. Now, when I was growing up, I've had some opinions of heroes. I personally always wanted to be a hero? How many of you gentlemen out there wanted to be a hero when you were growing up? Okay, back and forth. Whenever I was dreaming of something at times, I would remember waking up and remembering a dream. I was usually a knight in shining armor. So I would have this idea of what that I wanted to do. It usually consisted of myself saving the damsel in distress. And when I was growing up and actually doing things, I think from time to time I was more a zero than a hero when attempting to save the damsel in distress. It's okay. I think we all are striving to be a hero. Now, ladies, you might be thinking, well, I've never thought of being a hero. I disagree with that theory completely. Now, how many of you know who this is? It's an old picture. Florence Nightingale? Hero. Hero. I can tell you, watching my kids, they might fight and bicker, but as soon as somebody gets hurt, my daughter is running there with something to fix it. When I came home on Sunday, her first reaction was, "Whoa, Dad, that's scary." But her second reaction was, "Okay, get the medical kit out. I'm going to fix Daddy." Get up on my lap, start getting the blood off my face and helping me out. But Florence Nightingale, it's ingrained in us to help others, to be heroes. It's inside of us. It's there. It wants to get out. Now, my true hero, as I grew up, as probably many of yours have been, your parents, was my father. Now, I said, okay, May 23rd. Interesting date is, it's my dad's birthday. My plan was to finally get him, because he's gotten me so many times. My hero loves to tease. Now, one day when I was at work, my dad said, "All right, son, I've got a job for you." "Not a problem. I can do this. I can take care of it." "Okay, go outside. There's the outside faucet, and there's something wrong with it, and we need to figure out what's wrong with it. So I want you to go out, and I want you to look in that faucet and see what's wrong." "Okay, Dad, I'm on it." Run outside, and I look in, and I'm looking, and about 3 seconds after I start looking in there, water starts coming out and splashes all over my face. And then I look over, and there's a window strategically placed in a spot where he can watch. And I see him with his big back laughing. That was great. Got him. So, but that was my hero. Now, he didn't just teach me plumbing. He didn't just teach me to be a little ornery, as some of you may know. He also taught me about God in many ways. One time we were on a trip. We went to the Eastern Shore, where we spent a lot of time. That's where he came from when he was younger, in Delaware. But we were there at the Indian Head Inlet. If anybody knows where that is, it's down, I believe it's Route 1, down a little ways, and it's where the river comes in and out. So the first day we were there, great. We were swimming, having a blast, enjoying it. Now, let me give you a little preface to this whole story. I'm a pretty good swimmer, not bad. Been swimming for a long time. Here at Frederick School, we had a swimming program years ago that we would go to the YMCA. Now, in that program, you kind of work up through the different things. Much to my sister's dismay, I moved all the way up and I was in her class. So I was a pretty good swimmer. So this wasn't a situation where I had just gotten myself in over my head. This was a situation out of my control. The next day we were there swimming, and we didn't know that there was a storm coming up the coast. And what that storm had caused riptide. And as I was there swimming, I got caught in a riptide, and I started sliding out to the ocean. Now, my hero noticed that I was struggling. I was swimming hard, but I wasn't going anywhere. So he swam over to me and grabbed a hold of me. Now, as we were swimming there, I decided my hero wasn't saving me nearly fast enough, so I kind of started yelling and waving and hollering a little bit. Fortunately, there were other heroes there that day. Back on the far side of the beach, there was a lifeguard shack, and the lifeguards were actually watching into the ocean. We didn't know this at the time. So a lifeguard came running out, and he threw us the buoy, and he brought us in, and then we found out, if it's riptide, you can't swim straight in on riptide. You have to swim down the beach until you get out of that dirty water, and then you can swim in. So I was protected that day by my hero. He was not willing, and I learned this biblical lesson. He was not going to let go of me. No matter if both of us went out in that ocean and didn't make it back in, it didn't matter. But he was not going to let go of me. And that's with our Lord Jesus. He is not going to let go of us, no matter how far we get swept out into that ocean. Sorry, I forgot to switch the slides. That's my hero. What about history? What do we know about history with heroes? Well, there are also some zeros and heroes, so we're going to decide here. Does anybody know who this is? Raise your hands. What's that? Alexander Graham Bell? No. Anyone? No? All right, I'll give you his name, and then maybe you'll know who he is. It'll just pop right up into your head. You ready? Here it is. No? No one? All right, I'll even give you the rest of the information. Here, you ready? Keynote speaker for the dedication of the National Cemetery at Gettysburg. That's the Gettysburg Address here. Here, let me read the Gettysburg Address so you guys know exactly who this guy is. You ready? All right, it's pretty big, so we might be here for a while, but you guys ready? All right. Standing beneath this serene sky, overlooking these beautiful fields, now reposing from the labors of the waning year, the mighty Alleghenies dimly towering before us, and graves of our brethren beneath our feet. It is with hesitation that I raise my poor voice to break the eloquent silence of God and nature. But the duty to which you have called me must be performed. Grant me, I pray you, your indulgence and your sympathy. That's just the opening. Pretty impressive. But nobody remembers that, do they? Why is that? Lincoln spoke afterwards. That's absolutely right. Now, you want to know something interesting about this guy? Lincoln was not brought to the Gettysburg for this with pomp and circumstance. Lincoln was given an invitation just like everybody else would receive. It wasn't a written invitation. It wasn't anything special. It wasn't a presidential invitation by any means. He received the invitation. He said, okay, I've got to go. His wife said, but Abe, they didn't give you the correct invitation. You're a president. You're the president of the United States. You should have received a presidential invitation. No matter. I need to go. Sent back his invitation to those that were setting up this dedication. At this point, they get in a little bit of an issue. They're like, oh no, the president's coming. He said he's coming. Now we need to have him speak. Okay, so they send him back an invitation that says, will you speak? His wife, Abe, this is just a second thought. They don't want you there. Why are you going? Will you be upset if I go? Yes, I've got to go. The Lord wants me to be there. That's not the end of the story. He accepts. Now what do the papers say? Abraham Lincoln is going to Gettysburg, to this dedication, for political reasons. It's just going to be a stump speech so he can get reelected. Pretty harsh. Pretty harsh. His wife once again says, Abe, why are you going? Why are you doing this? The Lord wants me to be there. Who's the hero at Gettysburg that day? You guys ready? Here it is. 77 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Now, we are engaged in a great civil war, testing whether that nation or any nation so conceived and so dedicated can long endure. We are met on a great battlefield of that war. We have to dedicate a portion of that field as a final resting place for those who have gave their lives that that nation might live. It is altogether fitting and proper that we should do this. But in a larger sense, we cannot dedicate. We cannot consecrate. We cannot hallow this ground. The brave men, living and dead, who struggled here have consecrated it far above our poor power to add or detract. The world will little note nor long remember what we said here. But it can never forget what they did here. It is for us, the living, rather to be dedicated here to the unfinished work which they who fought here have thus far so nobly advanced. It is rather for us to be here dedicated to the great task remaining before us, that from these honored dead we take increased devotion to that cause for which they gave the last full measure of devotion, that we here highly resolve that these dead should not die in vain, that this nation, under God, shall have a new birth of freedom, and the government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth. There's a lot of great words in that speech. There's a lot of great words in that speech that tell us, as Christians, what we're supposed to be doing. Because we're in a great battle, aren't we? It's been raging for a very long time. This battle is between good and evil. Though we might lose some of our warriors, we have to continue on. And we have to step up and be in the place where they are or were. Who else? Let's look in the Bible a little bit. David and Goliath. Both heroes, aren't they? One of them may not have been on the good side, but one of them was a champion for the Philistines, right? The other one didn't even know he was going to be a hero, which is most of the time when someone's a hero, they don't even know they're going to be a hero when it happens. Now, in the story, Goliath is saying, let's make this easy. Instead of all of us coming out here and having a lot of people get killed, let's make it easy. You send one guy out and meet me, and we can finish this all. Take care of it. Sounds simple. No problem. Well, that's not all he said. He also went into a few curses upon the God of Israel and saying, you might have a God and he might be powerful, but I'm more powerful than him. So you guys come on, bring it. What did the Israelites do? For 40 days, they ran and hid because they were like, this guy, nobody can touch him. One-on-one, no way. Well, I mean, maybe if he'd said 10-1, maybe we might have a chance. We might go for it, but one-on-one, no way. David shows up. What's David for? He's a delivery man. He's just there to deliver some food. That's the only reason he was there on the battlefield. So David comes on, and everybody heads down to the battlefield. He's a young man. Battle. It's time to go see what's going on. So he runs down to the battlefield to see what's going on. And he hears this Philistine talking. And as he's talking, the hair starts coming up on the back of David's head. Nope, that's not right. Nope. Can't take this guy saying these things about my God. This is what he has to say. He says, For who is this uncircumcised Philistine, that he should defy the armies of the living God? Who are you that you have the right to say what you're saying? Because my God is the one true God. The rest of the story, David agrees to fight. They're a little reluctant about letting him do it. He's got God on his side. And with God, it doesn't matter how big they are. Went down. He fought Goliath with a sling and his staff. And he won. Because God was with him. And through God, David was a hero that day. Anybody know who this is? Samson. Samson is a great representation, in my opinion, in the Bible. Because Samson, he was born to save the Israelites. Gabriel came, told his mom and dad, said, you're going to have a son, and he's going to be there to protect the Israelites. Now, when Samson was born, they said, don't shave his hair. His hair has to grow his whole entire life. I'm not sure what's so important about hair, but that's what it was. All right. So, Samson starts out and growing, and they could see that he was very strong. Much stronger than 2 men. Much stronger than 3 men. Much stronger than 10 men. Very strong man. As he went through his life, Samson was more of a zero than he ever was a hero, because he spent more time worrying about things that were important to him. Yes, he protected Israel, but most of the time it was because he was out doing shenanigans and the Philistines were following him around and not paying attention to the Israelites because he was out causing trouble. One of these instances, the Philistines came to the Israelites and said, all right, here's the deal. You hand over Samson, and we won't pillage this year, okay? So the Israelites came to Samson and said, okay, here's the deal. What are we going to do? Samson's like, no problem. You bind me with brand new ropes, take me to the Philistines, it'll be okay. So what happens? Bind him with brand new ropes, take him to the Philistines. He's there for, who knows, maybe an hour or so as they're marching back toward Philistine. And, okay, game's up. Enough playing. Boom, ropes are gone. Takes out the whole army. Was that the way God had planned it? No. As Samson continued through his life, things kept going downhill for him. He met this young lady named Delilah, and everything went downhill from there. Now, Delilah said, "If you truly love me, Samson, you'll tell me why you're strong." So he did. You know, if my hair gets weaved into a weaver's loom, I become weak. Okay, so what'd she do? She weaves his hair into a weaver's loom. "Samson, the Philistines are upon you." He jumps up, rips the loom right off of where it is, and takes care of the Philistines. Well, this happened quite a few times, until finally, Delilah's like, I know you don't love me. This is horrible. This is terrible. You got to tell me what it is. So he finally breaks down. "It's my hair. If you shave me bald, I will be as any other man." So once again, what's Delilah do? Follows right through with it. Shaves him bald. "The Philistines are upon you, Samson." They come rushing in. He jumps up, and no strength. They grab him. They take him out. They take his eyes from him. And they put him in the most humiliating place they could possibly think of. And that was grinding wheat like a regular donkey, around and around. And he did that for quite a few years. Well, one day the Philistines said, "Hey, we're going to have a big party, and we're going to throw this party for Thor or one of their gods." Dagon. Thank you. Now, they had this big party, said, "Hey, we need a show. Somebody go get Samson. Bring him in. Because without a party, we need a show with a party. That's the way it works." So they brought Samson in. And Samson asks his caretaker that brought him in, "Can you do me a favor? I want you to take me to the center two pillars in the temple." "Okay, no problem. I need something to lean against." So they take him to the center two pillars in the temple. And this is what he asks. "And Samson called to the Lord and said, 'Oh Lord, please remember me. Please remember me, and please strengthen me only this once, O God, that I might be avenged on the Philistines for my 2 eyes.'" Samson spent a lot of time as a zero. But in the end, he asked the Lord one last time to make me a hero. Now my question is, when I've seen some videos when I was younger, the cartoons, when he asks this, all of a sudden his hair grows. And he's super strong. The hair had nothing to do with it. The hair was a representation that God was with him, to him. When he gave it up, do you think he had hair when he showed up in the temple? No, because if I'm the Philistines, that hair's getting cut every day, because we're making sure this man isn't strong again. The Lord gave him the power back, regardless of the hair, because the Lord is who made him the hero that he was. What does society, what does Hollywood say about heroes? They've done a lot on heroes, haven't they? Especially lately. We have tons and tons of movies. We have the comics, all these Marvel. Everybody has an opinion on heroes, right? Well, I'm going to pick on one. Superman. Interesting story, isn't it? How's it start? Superman's way off in space with his father. His father sends him to Earth to help the puny human beings that need his help. Now, while on Earth, he goes through a little bit of a rough childhood as he grows up, but he realizes as he grows up, he has to help these people. They can't help themselves. They've got to be helped. Superman goes all the way to the point where he's helping the humans, these people. He dies But Superman returns, right? He returns because humans need to be helped. Is this a story that is a little familiar? Is this maybe copied a little bit? You know that the writers of Superman are two Jewish men, right? They mirrored some of this story. Now, where they veered quite a ways away from the story of salvation, at the very end, Superman is protecting the world from Armageddon. From the end, Superman needs to protect. And at the end, he saves the world to be the way it is now, never to be changed from this being outside that's going to destroy all of us. Somebody else's story is a little different. Jesus came to this earth. He came to this earth to save us from our own sin. When he came down to this earth, he lived a life that we strive towards. He had a little bit of a rough time during his ministry because people attacked him quite a bit. But at the end, he died because of our sin. And he was put on a cross by us. He died protecting this world, protecting each and every one of us. Now, he rose again, and he went to heaven to prepare a place for us. And if he goes to prepare a place for us, he will return again. Now, at the end of Superman, the person returning is going to destroy the earth. Jesus' plan is to cleanse the earth. That counterfeit there is so that people think that the person returning isn't the right person. He wants each and every one of us there with him. He doesn't want to miss one of us. His plan is to protect us all in the cleanse of this earth, not to destroy us. So I ask that you guys join with me today in this cause. And this gospel of the kingdom will be proclaimed throughout the whole world as a testimony to all nations. And then the end will come. Until that happens, the end will not come. We do not belong here. We are just travelers in this world. Our home is with Jesus Christ. So I ask that you join with me today to go home to Jesus. Let us pray. Dear loving Heavenly Father, Lord, thank you for everything you've done for us, Lord. Thank you for guiding and protecting us. Thank you for loving us. Lord, though we might have troubles, we know they are just trials that will guide us to the end. Though we might lose some of our warriors on the way, help us to step in those places and keep marching forward. We love you, Lord, and we look forward to that glorious day when we will meet you in those clouds at the second coming and go home. In Jesus' loving name we pray.